Capcom?
Sorry.
Resident Evil fan?
Why?
ACID got me seeing souls. They hybrids in my eye beams, but I've been living blindly. Gave my soul up for perfect timing. A desert cat reinvented rhyming. How crazy is that?
Yeah, so the spoilers are out for Resident Evil 8. And I'm only gonna say this one time. Spoilers. Alright? That's your warning right there. Spoilers, done. So what we're gonna do is we are going to go over the spoilers. Man, I can't even believe this. This shit sucks. Like, I really hope that this leak is wrong. I really hope these spoilers are wrong. Because this sucks. This is terrible. It's the worst move Capcom could have possibly made. No, really. This is some Last of Us 2 levels of bullshit. Like, if you're a fan of Resident Evil at all, you are about to be pissed. So, what? I can't even talk straight. Okay, so we're gonna go through it. I'm not gonna read it all at once. I'm gonna give my opinion, then I'm gonna read some more, yada yada, etc, etc. So apparently, the newest trailer confirms most of the following. It was a 4chan leak a little while ago, but we actually have like evidence of it now, supposedly. Again, take it with a grain of salt, and hopefully this is a bunch of bullshit. All right, so. Here we go. The post starts like this. The game was originally going to be third person. About a year ago, it was going to be in third person. It wasn't going to be in first person. Alright? It was going to be a spin-off. It wasn't actually going to be a mainline Resident Evil, which kind of confirms the whole idea about it being connected to Revelations 2, so I'm not too surprised to actually read that. And eventually they decided to go back, make it officially Resident Evil 8, and just, put it back into the shit-ass first-person view that they've been doing lately, which I cannot stand. Why didn't they just leave it as a third-person game? Make it RE8, but just let it be third-person. The remakes, people love them, right? RE2, people love it. I personally have my own opinions about Resident Evil 3 remake, and I do plan on making a video about that, so we're not going to touch on that subject right now. But, Resident Evil 2 was pretty good. It was. And a lot of people love those games, so why did you need to go back to the first person view? I don't get it. Again, I don't want to play fucking Outlast. I want to play Resident Evil. I would go and play Outlast if I wanted to play Outlast. Moving on. So the main character, right? Obviously it's Ethan. We already know this, right? But this is something I didn't know right here. Is apparently there were talks about changing it to Leon. Why the fuck did they not change it to Leon? Like, bro, I would hella love to play RE8 as Leon. Leon is one of my favorite characters aside from Chris. Don't worry, we're about to get there when it comes to Chris. Alright? But seriously though, like, why the fuck would you choose Ethan over Leon? Like, what? What? Now, the good news is that apparently we're going to be able to play as Chris and Sherry Birkin. So at least we get to play as Chris again, which Chris is one of my favorite characters, so I'm okay with that. Sherry Birkin, yeah, she's a good character, but it's not like I play Resident Evil just for Sherry Birkin. I don't really know anybody who does, but at least there's a little variety in there, because personally, I don't want to play as Ethan at all, and in fact, if I had my way, the first 5 minutes of this game, Ethan would die, and then Chris would be the main character. But moving on, so Chris is apparently going to be fat and bald and have a beard. And I guess he's still with Blue Umbrella, and I guess he's acting hella shady, and I guess supposedly he's supposed to be like the main villain of the game. And it says here in the leaks, he's responsible for the death of Ethan's child and his wife Mia. Again, If you've seen any of my videos, then you already know that my whole theory on that is Mia probably still has the molded virus inside of her. She's probably not dead. I honestly don't think that he would do that shit. It's just not in Chris's character. It isn't. And there is nothing anybody else could say that would convince me otherwise. In fact, I don't want to defend Resident Evil 6 because I hate Resident Evil 6, but one thing that game actually did good was there was a hell of a lot of character development for Chris. He starts that game out being all depressed, and he's crying, drinking himself into a stupor. He's thinking about committing suicide and shit. Then he meets his boyfriend Piers, and he goes through that whole adventure, which, look, no zombie should ever pick up a gun and shoot back. Okay, so yeah, RE6 garbage. But by the end of the game, right, Chris has gone through this whole arc. He's finally gotten back to the honorable man that he used to be. He realizes the error of his ways, because Pierre helps him, basically sacrifices himself to save Chris, which leads Chris down this whole path of, joining Blue Umbrella and becoming a leader again. So why the fuck would he turn around and just throw that all away and become a bad guy? No, it's not happening. There's more to it, and we're about to get to that. Don't worry. So, continuing on with the leaks, the game takes place in a mountain region, and I guess the later half of the game is actually going to be taking place on an island. Now, there's a few things I want to say about this right here, because I already know that one of the things that people are going to say, and what I've already seen these people saying, is that, well, these leaks have to be wrong because Chris isn't a fat bald guy in the trailer. Which, yeah, that makes sense. You're right. He's not a fat bald guy in the trailer. Do you guys remember Metal Gear Solid 2? Do you remember how when that game came out, we thought we were going to play as Snake the entire game? And then we play the tanker mission, and then that's it. Then we play as Raiden for the rest of the game. So they could be doing the same thing here. They could easily be doing a switcheroo here where we play, right, maybe the beginning part of it is Ethan, and we're inside of this mountain village, and then like maybe halfway through the game, who knows, maybe even less than halfway, maybe only a quarter way through the game, we have a time skip. And now before you say, no, they're not going to do a time skip, RE5 had a time skip. You remember that? We didn't know what happened to Jill. There was this huge time skip before that, and then when they came out with the DLC, right, if you play them in chronological order, there's like 3 years gap in between that plot. So it's not like they've never done it before. Resident Evil does time skips, obviously. Just one more thing about the whole like changing of the scenery going on, of the settings, going from a village to an island. I actually think that's a pretty damn good idea. Especially because, Resident Evil 4 Remake is going to come out soon. Well, I shouldn't say soon, but it probably won't be too long. Maybe within the next 2 or 3 years. But it's going to be in a castle. They're probably going to reuse a lot of the assets from RE8. So it's probably a good idea for them to not spend a whole lot of time in a castle in RE8. Only because it's going to get very redundant. And people are going to nitpick the fuck out of that shit. People like me on YouTube are going to nitpick the fuck out of that shit if we play a game, RE8, and we're in a castle, and then we're gonna go through the exact same fucking castle in RE4 Remake. So I just wanted to point that out there. I kind of hope it does switch over to an island earlier in the game, only because I think it would be way more interesting. And now, one last thing, actually, I got one more, is in my last video I was saying the only thing that I feel like could redeem this game is if, they kill Ethan and Chris becomes the main character, which I've said twice now in this video alone. It would actually make sense if there was that time skip, if like maybe Ethan's story ends and then we pick up with Chris later on down the road. So continuing on though with the leaks. So apparently one of the main enemy types that we're going to be fighting especially I guess on the island when it switches to the later half of the game, is like these flower mutation enemies. I guess they're going to be like plant-like / like plant-based kind of enemies, kind of like those things in a Resident Evil 2 remake. I can't remember what they're called, but I will say that, I mean, I don't like them more in zombies. I wish they would just stick with regular zombies. But whenever they would make that sound when they would breathe, you know, when they're like, right, you know what I'm talking about. I used to hate that. That shit annoyed the fuck out of me. But it was really creepy. I give them that. It was really creepy. So I'm kind of indifferent to it. But to be real, I'd rather have that than werewolves. So whatever. If that's what they want to do, go for it. If this means we're going to have less werewolves and less vampires. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this, but the game has vampires. Vampires. What the fuck? Wow. Okay, so now we're getting to the reason why I even made this video in the first place. And we continue on with the spoilers, and basically they're just saying that Chris has gone mad, pretty much. Like, he's basically lost his shit. I guess in the beginning of the game, he just seems like he's kind of shady. Like, maybe he's still a good guy with ulterior motives, but by the time you get to the end of the game, you can just see, like, he's way more corrupted than we ever could have imagined. And he's gone, right? Like, he's pretty much Wesker 2.0. And we find out that the reason for this, I don't even know how to say this shit. Like, I just gotta throw it out there because, like, this shit is, what the fuck? Okay, here we go. Somehow between the events of Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 8, Rebecca Chambers, right? Rebecca from the very first Resident Evil game, the one that Chris saved, you know, the one that played the piano for him and all that shit, and his sister, Claire Redfield, have been killed off screen. What? Yeah, guys. No heroic death. Nothing. We don't even see how they die. They're just killed off screen. And we're just supposed to accept that as the reason why Chris is gone fucking crazy. I mean, seriously, even if you're not an old school RE fan, let's say you've played Resident Evil 2 Remake, you should be pissed right now. Because one of the characters that you probably love is dead. RE8 killed her. And if that wasn't bad enough, I guess you find files later on in the game that hint that Chris was the one that killed them. Why the fuck would Chris Redfield, the same guy that went to fucking Alaska to save his sister in Code Veronica, at least I think that was Alaska, I'm pretty sure that was Alaska. If I'm wrong, go ahead and correct me, it's all good. But yeah, he went all the way over there just to save his sister. The same Chris that fought Wesker, right? Like super powered Wesker, almost died in the process just to save Claire Redfield. He kills her. And then he turns around and he blames Ethan for it. Please, God, like, if you're listening, baby Jesus, please let this not be real. Please. Because this is the dumbest thing. Dude, you might as well just take all of the Resident Evil franchise, throw it in a dumpster, and light it on fire. Seriously. Like, it's not just an old school Resident Evil fan problem anymore, Capcom. It's not. There is no way. I challenge you. If you are legitimately listening to this, you've listened to this video, and you're sitting there thinking to yourself, oh, I don't care. Yeah, I mean, I like Resident Evil 2 Remake, but I don't care that Chris killed his sister. I'm cool with that. Please tell me. I'm not gonna come at you. I'm not gonna be mean. I won't be rude to you. I swear to God. I'm curious. How many people out there are going to be fine with Claire just being dead and being killed by her brother? And I'm not even talking about Rebecca Chambers. I'm not stupid. I know a lot of the newer fans, you probably don't even know who Rebecca Chambers is. In fact, if you've never seen like the movies, the CG movies, you might not even know who Rebecca Chambers is. Because the last time we saw her was in one of those movies. So if you've never played RE1, you have no effing clue who Rebecca Chambers is. If you've never played RE0, you have no effing clue who Rebecca Chambers is. But no matter how you look at it, this is a fucking problem. It is. It's a problem. This is terrible storytelling. I don't care who you are. This is crap-tastic storytelling. We get Chris. Dude, Chris is supposed to be like the all-American good guy. Like the late 90s action star good guy. He's not going to kill his sister. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Like the only way I could see this happening is if for some reason Claire sacrificed herself. And who knows? Maybe when the game comes out, it'll make more sense and it'll be something like that. But from the shit I'm reading in the leaks, man, it's just wow. Like I cannot believe this at all. Like I have not been looking forward to this game ever since I seen werewolves in there. But man, I never thought in a million years, I really didn't. I never thought that in a million years, right? I never thought that 3 months after I saw the trailer that I would be this disinterested in this game. I legitimately thought that I was going to end up liking the game. Because I've already said this, so it's not like I'm contradicting myself. I like Resident Evil 7 as a horror game. I do. I like it. But it's not a Resident Evil game. So I was holding out hope. Okay, you know what? I'll just ignore the fact that it's a Resident Evil game. RE8. I'll just pretend, right, that it's Outlast 3 or some shit. It might as well be, because there's more stuff in the leaks that suggest, right, that it's going to steal plot points from Outlast 2. For example, there's going to be this witch that's going to be chasing you throughout the entire game, or at least the Ethan portion of the game. And I guess she's like this guy, his name's Coven. He's like a cult leader, right? He's like the cult of all the witches. And like, she's the wife. Someone correct me, but isn't that what fucking happened in Outlast 2? Is you were being chased by this crazy fanatical woman who was carrying around a cross, and she looked like a monster and shit like that. And it turns out like the pastor was her husband, and that like this whole shit happened because they wanted to have a family. Like, does no one else see how weird, like how coincidentally close these plots are? But anyways, that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying, guys, like, I was really hoping I would like the game, but if it's gonna be like this, if they're just gonna kill Claire off screen like she doesn't mean shit to the series, then man, I'm done. Seriously, I am done. I'm just gonna go back, play 2, play 3, OG versions, like the HD product versions. I'm not talking about the remakes, especially RE3. And like I said, that video will come out. I'll make that video too. I have a lot of things to say about my girl Jill in RE3 remake, but I'm telling you, this is garbage. Why would you kill... Man, I'm gonna go on for like 10 minutes. I just can't believe it. So anyways, continuing on, there are still a few more leaks here that I want to get through, and then we'll just call it a day. So Chris, for some reason, like I was saying, he blames Ethan for the death of Rebecca and Claire. I guess we're gonna get a flashback. We're going to see like that Claire was killed brutally. Like, we're not gonna see her death, but we're going to see like the aftermath of it, you know. And it's just like this brutal death. And I guess Chris walks in, he sees it, and this is what causes him to snap. And he just doesn't care for anybody anymore, period. Right? Again, why did he go through that whole character arc if this shit was gonna happen? You know what? I wouldn't mind this so much. Like if it was like a revenge thing, you know? Dude, this is why they should have never got rid of fucking Wesker in Resident Evil 5. This is exactly why they never should have gotten rid of Wesker in Resident Evil 5. You know, because at least if he was still alive, you could be like, okay, Wesker came back and killed Claire. And now Chris is going down this dark path, you know, and he wants his revenge. And maybe he's been good for so long that, like, now he's thinking, you know what, maybe I have to do some fucked up shit so that I can become powerful to fight Wesker. Because, you know, Wesker is like a superhuman and shit. At least that would make sense. At least that would make fucking sense. You know, because this doesn't make sense. Him just losing his shit, and even though Wesker's gone, and most of these companies have been dissolved, he has no real reason to even be running Blue Umbrella, you know? He's just a bad guy to be a bad guy. It just comes from out of nowhere. And there's no real purpose for it. Man, I cannot wait until this game comes out. Man, if it's really like this, get ready to listen to rants like mine from every single person, just about every single person that reviews this game. This is, I guarantee you, this is going to be the next Last of Us 2. You know, and I know a lot of you out there right now, you're thinking, oh man, this guy's crazy. You know, he's just sitting there bitching. I'll probably get people in the comments being like, oh, cry me a river, you know, and all that shit. And that's fine, man. That's totally cool. That's totally cool. You know, we're all people. We all have our own opinions. And we're entitled to our own opinions. And my personal opinion, and I know a lot of the hardcore RE fans, like the real RE fans, are going to agree with me on this one. And those are the ones that I want to know. Those are the ones that I want to talk to. Those are the ones that I want to actually, like, communicate all this stuff with and get to know. Because the casuals, the Johnny-come-latelys, like, they play Resident Evil 7, they're just playing a horror game, man. It's not survival horror. To them, it's just a horror game. It's just another horror game. And I know for a fact, dude, like, my last ex-girlfriend, she never played any of the Resident Evil games, right? But she loved Resident Evil 7. Because to her, it was a good game. And I get it. I really do. I do. I get it. But for people who actually care about this franchise, it was garbage. And this is about to be garbage. Mark my words. It's going to be garbage. And then people are going to come back to this video later. They're going to listen to me and they're like, dude, this guy was right. Like, so we should have done something. And I'm not stupid. I know I can't do anything to stop Capcom. You know, this probably billion-dollar corporation. But, man, Capcom, you just got Resident Evil back up and running. You know, like, you were doing good. I thought you were going down the right path. I really did. I thought that you guys were going to save this franchise, and then you pull some shit like this. And why are you doing it? Why? So that you can get rid of all the old characters? So that you can make Ethan the new main character? Bro, if they killed Mario, right, and replaced him with Wario, people would be pretty fucking irritated. I guarantee it. And I know some people would love to play a Wario game. And there should be Wario games. And I don't have a problem with Ethan having his own game, but it should not be mainline Resident Evil. Period. Whatever. Alright, yeah, I'm sorry guys. So, yeah, I kind of went off on a tangent there. I just could not believe that they would actually kill Claire Redfield. And especially Rebecca. Because personally, for me, man, like, I was really hoping that we were going to get Rebecca back at some point. Maybe even make her a main character of a game. I really like Resident Evil 0. A lot of people don't like RE0, but I love that game. I like it. I think it's actually a really good game. You know, in fact, I'd be like RE1. Well, no, that's not fair, because it pretty much goes in order for me. You know, to me, RE1's the best, RE2, RE3. RE3 might be a little bit better than RE2 and then RE3. And then 0, and then Veronica. It's funny how this franchise just like goes down and down and down and down and down. Right? It reminds me of the Fable, the Fable franchise. The first Fable was a good game. Second Fable was and then the third Fable was just garbage. And so I'm just really hoping that the new Fable will be good. But now I'm not even talking about Resident Evil anymore. I'm not drunk, so please don't ask me if this was a drunken rant. No, this is just me being pissed off at Capcom rant. That's what this was. Fuck you, Capcom. For real. Alright. Hear from you guys in the comments. Late.